In the future, when social media like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, WhatsApp, Telegram, and YouTube is getting rampant, social media is also, now it's not just an app on your phone, but already mastered the real world. People can give ratings or ratings to someone else, starting from the smallest rating of 1 star until the highest is 5 stars. Government even put a chip in everyone's eye. From a small, the chip is installed so they can see. Rating each other. Rating it becomes standard to be able to eat in restaurants, get into the office, even in friendship, all determined by rating. The greater one's rating, the higher their social status. Instead, the smaller the rating, then the person will be shunned by society. This lady named Legion, she is a very obsessed career woman. Raise its rating. Currently rating Legion is worth 4. At 2 in the morning, Legion tells his sister named Ryan, if later this afternoon there will be someone coming to survey their house. Legion and Ryan lived alone in the house. They had both agreed before. Decided to sell the house left by their parents and live your separate lives, because they were sick of seeing each other behave. Legion doesn't like to see his sister play games every day without wanting to work, while Ryan was upset, saw her brother always pretend to be happy in front of others in order to get high rating. Legions then go to an elite housing estate. He plans to move there after the house was sold later. Unfortunately, the Legion money is still lacking. Marketing of the housing. Then make an offer, which is that he will give you a 20% discount, as long as the Legion rating can rise to 4.5. Heard the offer just now. Legion's so happy. With his personality being good to everyone, Legion's sure it only takes a minute. Surely he can raise his rating. After that, Lacey meet the boss where he works. There he told me his desire to buy a house. Lacey asked that the superior would give letter of guarantee to the marketing housing. If in the near future, he'll definitely get a 4.5 rating. But based on the data of friends, Lassie are mostly standard rated. His boss also doubted. He then suggested that Lassie trying to be friends first with people who have minimum rating 4.5 and above. Because if those high rating owners give rating on others, then his friends will automatically give rating also. The next day, Lacey kept thinking about what his boss said yesterday. Actually, Legion had a childhood friend named Naomi, which has a rating of 4.8, but unfortunately, they never talk anymore, since Naomi had a new friend. Leslie also tried to attract Naomi's attention by posting photos of dolls they used to make together. And how happy Leslie's heart was when Naomi gave rating on the photo. Leslie thinks Naomi must still remember their dolls. That night, Naomi called Leslie. Naomi called saying, "When I saw the photo of the doll in Leslie's post earlier, suddenly she remembered about their past." Naomi also told me that in a few days she will get married soon, and she wants Legion to be an escort at her wedding later. Heard that Legion's very happy. Immediately he can IDE how to raise the rating at Naomi's wedding. Legions will give speech. In the speech, she told me the story about both of their childhood to make Lassie friends cry. Then giving high rating for him. Morning at the office, Legion tells his boss about the list of invited guests at Naomi's wedding later, who all have ratings above 4.5. Because of that list, the boss was finally willing to be a guarantor of Legion's. Leslie feel happy. Soon, his dream of living in elite housing will come true. The next day before leaving for Naomi's wedding, Leslie first rehearsed her speech. See her brother again had to pretend to cry. Ryan was annoyed. He then followed the Legion. Not to be too obsessed with Ryan's ratings. Prefer live Legions the way they are. Be yourself, rather than having to beg in front of others, just for the sake of a rating. Yet Legions, he even thought that his sister was just jealous. With upset, she left Ryan alone at home. In a taxi, Legion get a call from Naomi. Called, they both chatted very loudly. until the taxi driver was disturbed. Arriving at the airport, the taxi driver gave the lassie a bad rating, but Lassie doesn't care. He felt, the rating of a taxi driver is not important. They're one of the airport staff. Informed that the flight was cancelled due to an accident. Heard the news. Lesty panicked. Yes, then asked for another plane. But because the taxi driver gave a bad rating, Lesty rating so down, and instead it was forbidden to board the plane. Unconsciously, Lassie was emotional to the point of insulting the airport staff with rude airport security who heard harsh words. Lassie came, then lowered the Lassie rating to 3.1. Saw the ratings drop drastically. Lesion's still confident. He was sure that when he made a speech at Naomi's wedding, Lesions can definitely move everybody and give big rating for him. Lessie also decided to go by car. At the car rental place, Lessie is served poorly because the rating is small. Even he's only allowed to rent low-quality cars. Because I had no other choice. Leslie still rent it. After a long walk, Leslie electric car out of battery. When you want to charge, apparently, all types of adapter plugs, there are different from car types. Leslie, he was forced to leave the car and look for a ride. But among the many cars, there was only a truck that wanted to give him a ride. The driver of the truck was an old woman rated 1-4. Along the way, the woman told a long story. He once had a rating of 4.6. Every day, he always tries to be nice to everyone in order to maintain his rating. Until one day, her husband has cancer. Due to the rating of the little husband, all the hospitals are denying it. The woman was very angry. He didn't accept and then cursed at everyone in the hospital. Since then, he doesn't care about the rating anymore. For him to be true to his feelings and be yourself. Much better. Instead of having to keep pretending to be happy just for the sake of a rating, he then told the lesion to try to be honest. Unfortunately, the lesion rejects. For him, even if he had to live in pretense. The important thing, lesions can get a variety of elite facilities, then live honestly, but can only be simple facilities as they are. Tomorrow at a gas station. They both separated for different purposes. Time going to the public toilet. Lesion heard two women enter. They then talk about the concert, music located near Naomi's wedding hall. Lesty instantly get IDE. He then approached one of the women to ask for a ride. Lesion saying if he also plans to come to the concert. But in the middle of the road, his car broke down. Out of pity, they also invited Lizzie come with her other friends. In the car, Naomi called Lesion again on the phone. He told the lesion not to come to his wedding. Naomi knows now the Lassie rating is only 2.6. Naomi would be ashamed if the invited guests knew. If he had a friend with a small rating like Lassie. Hearing Naomi's words, broken lesion heart. Even though he has been through many bad events to get to Naomi's wedding venue. But Naomi, now it forbids him to come just because the rating is down. While emotional, Lesion saying, whatever happened, he would still come there. Naomi completely ignored the words Lisi and just hang up. All the people in the car heard the conversation. Lassie just now, after knowing Lassie was lying, he was kicked out of the car. On the road, no one wants to give ride lesions. When it's frustrating, Lesion saw there were two men playing motorcycle ATV. He then begged to borrow their motorcycle. Out of pity, one of the men lent me his ATV. After a long journey, with mud and makeup, which is ruffled, Lesions finally reached Naomi's wedding venue. He quietly entered, then immediately spoke in front of the invited guests. But instead of delivering a speech that he had been preparing for, Lesions there instead reveal all his heart. He told, I have always been jealous of Naomi's popularity and beauty. When I was in school, Lesions even to be willing to be a bully, to play with Naomi's group. He was never angry either, when Naomi snatches her boyfriend so many times. Lesion's always patient. Hopeful Lesions, one day. She can also be as popular as Naomi, if he continues to be friends with her. But since being friends with people with high ratings, Naomi has never contacted him again. Naomi had dumped it. Leslie knows the reason why Naomi, a few days ago, asked her to be a maid of honor, is just because Naomi wants someone to tell you their goodness. When I was a child, in the middle of a speech, security officers came to arrest him before being taken away. Lesion saying, even though many things hurt, until whenever he would still consider Naomi as his friend. Lesions were taken to the precinct as punishment for making a scene. Police removed the chip in his eye. Then he was put in a jail cell. In there, for the first time in his life, Lesions can clearly see, with no chip hitch, Lesions in situ see a man who was also being imprisoned in front of his cell. He then cursed the man with harsh words. It's okay for a kid to do anything. The man who did not accept was immediately back, scolding Lesty. They're both constantly cussing each other, express each other, their feelings honestly, without having to pretend to be happy anymore. Movie is over.